What we're going to talk about today, my man, is Ironheart. All
Okay.
right. And you hit me up the other day, gave me your thoughts on it. And before we get into that, I saw something. It was dealing with Rotten Tomatoes, the initial score for Ironheart. They said was very low
Mhm.
because they had a bunch of people trolling.
Trolls, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just killing the show. And then I get the text from you, and you're just like, "Oh, it's just bad." I'm like, "Really? What?" So your general. I got other questions, but I
Sure.
just want to know right now your general overall feel of the show.
Well, the show is well made. I have no problem with the production of the show, the
Okay.
acting of the show. I have big problems with the writing of the show.
All right.
But I went into this show Ironheart. Well, first,
Mm-hmm.
can I give some disclaimers and
Yeah,
caveats
you
up
can give
front?
some
Okay.
disclaimers, my man.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that people
yeah.
won't, jump down my throat at first. Because the thing that bothers me the most about me not liking the show and then voicing that opinion,
Mm,
especially, I don't expect anything else, but especially in the social media world, is that
yeah.
I am immediately attacked for being a misogynist, a racist, which, you never know, you know, the race of somebody if there's just text. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I've been, anyway, my opinion seems to be discounted because they feel as though I'm one of those trolls that wants to ping the show because it's either a woman who's a protagonist or somebody who's not Caucasian who's a protagonist, and that's not the case with me whatsoever.
At
So
all. At all. So yeah,
they
I'm
put
with
that
you.
up front. Also, I never read Ironheart in the comics. If this
Mm-hmm.
character is true to what's written in the comic books, then you know, discount what I'm saying. I'm coming at it as somebody who is only familiar with Riri Williams because of what I saw in Wakanda Forever. And I was familiar with the character. I'd heard of the character before, but all I knew about it was that this was a young black woman who was quite intelligent, who had decided to build some Stark like armor, and emulate Iron Man, so to speak. So that's all I
Yeah.
knew about Riri Williams. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now what my problem with the show is that Riri Williams, if this was a villain origin story, I'm with it.
All right. Okay.
I'm with
Okay.
it.
All right.
Okay, but I went into it thinking, maybe erroneously, that Riri Williams is a hero like protagonist. Now, the thing I like
Mm-hmm.
about Marvel is heroes, or really across all of literature. Most heroes have faults. A lot of times, their origin story involves them learning about those faults and
Yes.
bettering
Yes. Yes.
themselves, learning
Mm-hmm.
from their mistakes, etc. I saw no, I see none of that in Riri Williams. None.
You see none of that.
No, no.
Wait a minute.
Let me start at the beginning.
Yeah, please,
This
because
show starts out.
all right, all right.
She's at MIT
Mm-hmm.
with some sort of fellowship because that's how those things work. You get a fellowship.
Right.
We are told that apparently the funding she was getting wasn't enough for her to do what she wanted to do, so she made some
Mm-hmm.
side money
Yeah.
by um, helping
Doing people's
students.
doing
Huh?
people's homework. Just
Yeah, doing
doing
people's
people.
homework.
Yeah, yeah.
Long
Doing
story
people.
short,
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
people's homework. Okay,
yeah.
which is really, they call it plagiarism in the show. It's really academic fraud. It's not plagiarism. Plagiarism
Right.
is when you copy somebody else's stuff. But anyway, she did this. Now, from my point of view, she has no problems. Riri has no problem. In fact, what she wants to do is getting accomplished. She is building. She has an iron suit. She might not be able to perfect it to where she wants it to be, but she's on the
Mm-hmm.
road to doing that because
Right.
she's at
Right.
MIT.
Right.
And
Right.
she says, "Oh, I need I need money. I need millions of dollars. I don't got it like that. So I need to get this money. Okay. So she didn't
Okay,
have enough.
stop right there. Stop right there because
Okay.
what you just said right there, that was probably the biggest thing for me. Her problem just seems to be that she can't get the money to do this, but she's a very innovative, creative, extremely smart. What do you say? Graduated high school at 11, undergrad, at 15. How can she not get the money? If she is that brilliant, she's at MIT. She built what she did on her own money, but yet she still can't get the funding. Now
Well,
that's
first,
where I was like,
well,
okay,
first, yeah,
yeah,
first I got now. I listen again. Here's another caveat, so I don't look like I'm being ridiculous here. I
all right,
understand this is a fantasy show on
mm-hmm,
Disney Plus. Okay,
right,
so I'm not expecting it to be. Yeah, it's fantasy. I love this stuff. I
right,
understand
right,
there's some stuff you just have to take at face value. Okay, but
mm,
it's still supposed to somewhat be within the realm of reality. And within the realm of this reality, there's no way Riri Williams raised multi-millions of dollars doing homework. Therefore, this suit was done with funding from MIT and Riri Williams. See, I got into this with somebody online
but
because
you know what? That only makes sense.
I
Yeah,
said she stole the suit. They said, "Oh no, she didn't steal the suit. She paid for it all by herself." And I'm like, if you think she paid for it all by herself, then
mhm,
then we're just never mind. It just
right,
doesn't make sense.
right.
Plus, when she was putting it on when she was leaving, kind of looked to me like she was sneaking out to me. But that's how it looked to me.
It looks that way in a
Okay,
way.
so
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so
So,
just like you couldn't go to Andrews, or what do they call it? Joint Base Andrews, and get
mhm.
into a B-52 and fly off, even though you say, "Well, I paid for the tires on this motherfucker, it's mine." You can't do that. They're going to be on you to get that thing back. And so that was my first thing in the show. I was like, no, who's coming after Riri? She just
she
flies off.
she goes in there. She finds out she's getting expelled. She grabs a remote and she just starts getting the pieces,
Right.
stepping into the booth, saying,
Right. But
that's when the
let's go
guy.
back. Let's go back to that. See, look. Let's go back to, and I'm sorry. This is just been building.
That,
I'm watching. Let's talk about her being expelled. She's being expelled now. Okay, let me just say this too. This thing was made in. It was supposed to air in 2022. Okay, it's
okay,
been held back
right,
from Marvel, which means it was made in 21,
right,
probably filmed in
right.
21, 22.
Hmm.
Okay, which is peak. This is peak Marvel inclusion. I'll just put it that way.
All right.
Peak. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't. But this show took it to a far extreme. But anyway, she's being very gracefully expelled from MIT by the black female dean of students. Okay? She's trying to be as
Exactly.
nice as she possibly can.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what does Riri say to her? You're trying to keep me small. I got to be bigger. I'm like, oh, wow. This is like so ridiculous. This is just ridiculous. So she gets, they're like, Riri,
Don't
just go
forget.
to class.
Hey, look,
Just
don't
go to
forget
class.
homeboy. Don't forget homeboy sitting there with bruises, arm in a sling. Look, he's trying to let the dean handle it, but he's
Yeah.
like, "Yo, don't give her
Yeah.
another chance."
Yeah.
And you're
But
right. The whole thing she said about holding me down, I'm like,
yeah, I
"You
was
didn't
like, wow.
hit. Wow, look at all the stuff that you
Yeah.
just
Wow.
did."
She's like, you're
Yeah,
just trying to keep me small. I was like, wow, really? So anyway, so she gets kicked out. All
yeah,
right. She gets kicked out, steals the suit, in my view, gets the suit, flies away. Okay. We're only 10 minutes into the show right now. She flies away. She crashes.
right as she gets to Chicago,
She
right?
crashes into Chicago. Now, granted, it hasn't escaped me, and I want the viewer to believe. See, that's what I'm saying. This show must have been written by like a 20-year-old, and it's written for like 14-year-olds because it doesn't make sense. She flies from Cambridge, Massachusetts to Chicago.
Right,
Okay, which
right,
is a heck of a flight.
right,
She flies there in her suit.
right.
Okay, she crash lands. Okay, that's fine. She lands, except for the suit, like this Iron Man, who breaks apart.
Yeah, it breaks apart. I mean, first of all, you got pieces coming off of it as she's flying into Chicago.
Right, right.
So you got bit by, and then when the kid, Landon, I believe that's his name,
Yeah,
helps her take it, I'm like, well, she's got parts that she's got to find and replace.
right.
But for
They,
some reason,
they
all
don't
the
do that.
parts in there. Yeah,
Yeah, they
so,
don't do that.
yeah,
They just
yeah,
have
they
some
don't do
few in
that.
the
Yeah,
wagon
yeah,
and whatever.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's not the first time she leaves the suit behind in this show, but we'll just leave it. There was another time too, but
yeah.
she anyway. So it breaks apart. So already I was like, wow, okay, but that's fine. We're at the beginning of the show. This is
Mm-hmm,
our protagonist who is going to go on the hero's journey. She's probably going to be better than this, right? No,
mm-hmm.
she's not.
Right.
She's like, oh, I need money. I need money to do this because, and this is what got to me. And you were talking about the money, but this is what got to me. It's the classic line that Obadiah Stane, ironically, his son is in this show, said about Tony Stark. Tony Stark built this suit in a cave with a box of scraps. Okay,
Right, right, right,
Riri Williams already has a suit.
right,
If
right,
she wants to, she never once it said thinks to herself, I can okay, I don't have the money to do this. Let me see what kind of scraps I can put together to do
right,
what I want to do, like Tony
right.
Stark did. That's the thing that bothers me. I'm like,
Okay.
why can't she be smart enough to do this like Tony Stark did?
Mm-hmm.
Not and when I said that online, all of a sudden I'm like comparing her to the white man, saying the white man's better. No, I'm not. What I'm saying is that whoever wrote this show, damn it, give Riri as much common sense as Tony Stark has. That's all I'm
Right,
saying.
right, right, right.
You know,
I can
she's
see that.
smart, but she's a kid. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
Hold up. Before you go a step further, what I found to be confusing was how was the suit being powered? That's something that they never really address. And so when you're talking about the building of the suit, you know, Tony did this in the cave with scraps. But the thing that was with Tony, you had the situation where he had to create the power source to make sure his heart stayed clean, but they never talk about the power source in these first 6 episodes at all.
they don't until episode 5 or so. Then all of a sudden, oh, we don't have any power. Let's put magic in this thing, which is like I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that was like, what are we doing? So anyway,
Yeah,
so she got the other thing that was like, okay, so I'm watching the show and it's just becoming more and more ridiculous because she keeps saying, I need money, I need money. True, money would help. Money would solve her problem. That's nothing wrong
right.
with that. But she decides that the path of least resistance to getting her money is to hook up with the hood and this lame ass this look, ain't nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong.
Ah,
Look, I'm all for diversity. I am. But they put together like this is like the queer Avengers guy he going on over here. And they are not they are not they are there is nothing scary about these folks. I mean, not that they have to be scary, but there's nothing impressive about them. And on top of everything, which is like, I'm yelling at my screen at this time because she's like, I got, the suit, the hood is like, I can do this and I can do that, and I'm like, you have an Iron Man suit. What are we talking about?
yo,
Why do you even need these? And one of them's name is Clown. Why do you need
yeah,
these clowns?
yeah. Look. Rewind. Let's talk about the crew because first of all, in those in the movies when they have the scene when the guys breaking down who's in the room
Right,
or whoever they're talking about their skill set and all that. Usually that's the part that's like real cool in the
right,
theaters. That's like, okay, right. Like, you watch Clone Wars and you see Dooku breaking down all the bounty hunters and what they did.
right.
When they did that for this crew, it was like, it didn't have any, and it seems as if they took like from uh other characters, not in terms of the characters itself, but how they presented these people. And like you said, when they were talking about it, like, Slug's computer genius. I'm like, it's nothing big time. It just didn't come off in a manner that
Look,
I
tell
think
me
it
where
should
I'm
have.
wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong here.
All
All right,
right,
Slug is the computer person. I think
right.
Riri can hack a computer. These
Me too.
these two
Yeah, yeah,
twins are like the beat 'em up people. Think
yeah.
she can beat
They're the
people up.
muscle. Yeah,
Clown can does explosives.
right.
I think she can do explosives. Why does Riri need any of these people? It just doesn't make sense. And not only does she not need them, they're just knuckleheads. They're knuckleheads. That's what blows my mind. And the hood is like, well, John, the guy John, I don't understand his other than being the hood's
His
cousin.
cousin.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah,
has
yeah.
no, he's supposed to be good with knives. It's like, okay, that's really going to help us out a lot. So
I
thanks.
guess
And
he was being like his number one. I guess that's what he
yeah,
was
I
for
mean, yeah, it
Parker.
was his cousin.
For Parker, his number one.
In
Yeah,
the
yeah,
flashback we saw, John kind of was the guy who kind of seemed to lead him down this road
yeah,
of being like a criminal. So that was his boy. I get it. I'm
yeah.
just, I'm bringing him up only to say that I'm with Riri Williams. That's my point of view. I'm
Mm,
with the protagonist, and I'm like,
gotcha.
why are you even effing with these people? What do they bring to you? I understand that you don't have a criminal mind. I
Right.
understand that. So maybe you feel like they're going to have a plan to get you to do something. But then when we get to the plan again.
Hmm.
I don't expect if this is for 14-year-old kids. I think because
Right.
but other Marvel shows haven't. Other Marvel shows, while they weren't necessarily didn't have any gratuitous or extreme violence, and
Mm-hmm.
there wasn't like sex or nudity, so that kids could watch it. At least
Mm-hmm.
they seem to have an adult sensibility where things were kind of meant to be somewhat logical. But
Right. Right.
but we get to the plan, and when we get to the point where the hood appears with this lady, he's like, "Yo, sign half of your company over to me."
I do. Look. That's the part that was getting to me. But when you look at all those other people, you're right. Riri could do all that stuff herself, but they need bodies. They need people in position. So the main reason I looked at it the way they had all those people were just so that they could be in position. They needed the numbers like in Ocean's 11 in order to make it happen. But once again, I think with Riri, just with the suit,
Uh-huh.
can go in there and do everything that's needed without all those other people, because later on you have Zeke help him go into that spot, and all he needed was just Zeke. The hood just needed one person. I look at the hood just looking at, okay, Rampage ain't getting his thing done, so let me see about getting Riri to come in. But I thought eventually he's going to want her to take over everybody else's position as well. That's what I thought. But
Well, yeah,
you know,
but
yeah,
it didn't go that way.
no, it didn't. Yeah, it didn't.
So I didn't
And
understand.
yeah, so I'm
I
with
didn't
you on
understand
that.
why.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
but see what I'm saying is, okay. So I'm watching, and I'm like, I mean, it's just you can't. And I'm not saying you don't have to go. A lawyer doesn't have to go through this with a fine tooth comb. I'm just
right.
saying you can't like tell somebody to sign. You can't intimidate somebody into signing their company over to
It's
you.
not legal.
It's not
All
legal.
it's
So
look.
it's not enforceable.
Yeah, it's
It,
not enforceable.
it,
Like when she signed, like, okay, I'll sign it. Yeah, fine.
yeah,
Then all she has to do, and then he wants to just walk away like they're
yeah,
gonna leave that be.
and
Like she's not gonna tell the board what happened. She's
and
not gonna tell the police. That's just
and
insane.
that's what I
Yeah,
thought. Just like you said, you thought that he was going to get rid of all those people to keep
mm,
Riri. That's
yeah,
what I thought after she signed it. I thought he
mm,
was going to find out. No, dude, that's a bad plan because it's not enforceable. But
yeah,
no, apparently it is enforceable. So we're going to go with that. All right,
yeah,
we're
yeah,
going to go with that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
meanwhile, we find out that the hood has all these like scars and stuff all over his body,
Yeah, it was supposed to be scales or something. Yeah, yeah,
scales,
yeah.
and he has John tattooing over them as if that's supposed to hide them. I was like, I was like, what are y'all doing? It's
That was confusing. That
yeah. I
that
was
that
like,
was confusing because when the scales came up, it was way bigger than the tattoo. But yet you could still see the scales
Yeah,
underneath the tattoo.
right.
So what's the purpose?
I didn't
Yeah,
understand that. I didn't
me either.
understand that purpose. I didn't understand what
Yeah,
was going on there. But
yeah.
so again, my biggest problem with the show is the writing of the show, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to hold it to a higher standard personally because I am black and because this protagonist is a black woman, and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted this thing not to be the greatest show. I don't really have any. After a while, I used to have
Mm-hmm.
high hopes after Vision and WandaVision and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I thought were both very good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that I used to have high hopes for these shows. I don't anymore,
Right,
but I was
right,
hoping that
right.
this one at least would make sense. But
Yeah, there
any
hasn't been any more creativity like they did with WandaVision.
yeah, but
So
anyway,
yeah.
they get okay. So she comes in contact with Zeke Stain, Obadiah Stain's son, who we find out is his son because for
Mm-hmm.
some reason he has his father's ashes in the kitchen. Now,
in a in a plastic
in a
bag.
plastic bag, which goes just it doesn't even go explained. It doesn't even get explained. It's just like couldn't we find out he was Zeke Stain some other way? Because this makes no sense. Why do you have these ashes in your kitchen? And again, Riri is just down with everything. She's just like, oh, you got your dad's. Oh, I would I stained your dad and your ashes. That sounds cool. What's up? So anyway, he does this biomesh. He does this biomesh thing. So next time we see him, he's got this deep gash in his arm. He's like cut.
Yo, that was yo, that was look. You talk about Riri being down with stuff. First of all, when she went to the pizza place, I'm not going in. It's dark in there. I'm not
Oh
going in.
right,
But she's just let me see what's going to happen. Then she gets in a situation where she almost gets gassed and died, but they were just testing her. And with Obadiah, she's looking for the parts on the black market.
right,
So she
right.
goes to this guy, he's a wimp, letting his neighbor dog shit right in his damn yard and everything. I was like, yo, that Heather got to go. But she finds this guy, finds out who he is. And I think that's how they were trying to just merge everything to create, the story that,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
I liked. I mean, no, it makes sense that she and Zeke Stain's paths cross because he has that tech. I mean,
yeah,
she needed him.
yeah,
That's what I
yeah,
didn't understand. The hood. Look. In my opinion, Zeke. Now, I don't want to sit here and rewrite this thing from the couch because I know some people worked very hard on the show and they
right.
did their best. So I'm not sitting up here trying to like say, "Oh, you all don't know what you're doing." But this is what after seeing the show, this is what I think. I think the hood and all that gang needs to go away. They're out of here. Zeke Stain should have been the villain, and
Hmm.
she could have hooked up with him by looking for black market parts,
Right,
and he could have been eventually the guy who she had to fight against without all that hood stuff in there. But anyway,
right.
he
But it seems like they want her and him to be, you know, partners. It seems
yeah,
like,
well,
yeah,
it may end
yeah,
up going down that way, even though in the comic books, Zeke Stain is a villain.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but anyway, yeah, it seems like they wanted them to align with each other. But they go to anyway. They do their little caper, um, and she wears the biomesh thing to cover up this laser beam that she wants to cut some of the cloak off with. That oh by
yeah.
the way, later on she finds the cloak is indestructible. So how in the world she's cutting it, I don't know. But anyway, she cuts it, and then
It was
that
because of the
drops.
type of laser that it was, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
and
yeah,
so then the biomesh drops off. Okay,
yeah.
and she leaves John, and John dies.
Hmm.
So which I didn't. It was tough luck as far as I was concerned. But that was the
Hey,
only time we saw Riri.
somebody was gonna get go out, and we knew it was gonna be Riri, not in
Right,
the
right, and
first.
that was the
Yeah,
only time that I can remember that Riri seemed to have some sort of like humanity where she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I left that guy. Oh my God, I should have, she looked like she was feeling bad about that." So that was great. But then,
So wait, hold on. You don't think she's shown any type of humanity up until that part? You think? I, for
no, I
me,
think she, no, I think she, other than her flashbacks,
okay,
other than her flashbacks,
okay.
in the present day, she's very good at manipulating people, and she's very good at getting what she wants. But
Mhm.
I don't think that she seems to care much about anybody other than herself.
But you
Every
look at
time
the
her mom tries to
flashbacks.
give her some sort of direction, she's just like, and she says
Well,
whatever.
yeah, but this is what I look at. Yeah, the actions that you see, she doesn't seem to be caring. But if you look at the flashbacks, and you can say, okay, she's not showing any emotion, or she's so focused on what she's trying to get done that she feels like sharing her feelings and thoughts with anybody else and then having that person disappear is going to basically keep her from getting what she needs to get done because it hurts so much.
Okay.
That's why, I'm just saying, if you look at it that way, especially with Natalie, because she says, even though she made Natalie that AI by mistake, it has been a big help in helping her to get things done and deal with it. You remember she was even breaking that down to, I believe, Gary about that. So I I I, I can see how if you're looking at just the way she reacts with people, but when I look at the backstory, I put the two together. I'm like, okay, that's why she's like that right now. She feels that okay, she got to get everything done. She has to do it herself. She can't depend on anybody else because she doesn't want emotions to hold her
Okay.
back. So that's what I look at.
Okay.
Natalie's big time and important to her. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Natalie was that character was
And that's another character that look. I'm not saying. Look, I'm just telling the part about the emotion part. Now, in
yeah.
terms of the
Well,
character,
she did have a bond with Natalie, and we will come to find out it was
yeah,
very strong at the end. But
yeah, yeah.
I'll give you that. A human relationship that she
Yeah,
seemed to need, and that
uh,
she when she got that AI, it seemed to fill a little hole that she had in her.
but you know
Yeah,
what was kind of hard though? When her mom, came across Natalie, she said they had talked with her for hours. And
right.
when her mom said to her, "Can you do that?" You know, for I
For
think
Gary,
no, yeah, for Gary, yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah. I was getting Gary confused with the other dude, but yeah. So as soon as she said that, she became upset because
right,
she felt as if, Mom, you not understand. I didn't do that
right.
because of that. And then it was like, okay, Mom, I need you to kind of not think about yourself right now, but think about me and what I did, and how do you think that affects me?
This
Mm,
is another thing. Again, I don't want to sit up here and I know it sounds like I'm nitpicking, but I don't think these are nitpicks. I think these are big things that make no sense.
mm,
She drops the biomesh in the at the thing. The police find it. Okay, now the police somehow trace this biomesh
how? That's what I
to
kept trying
Zeke
to figure out.
Stain, who's been selling this stuff on the market for we don't know how long, but obviously
Right.
he's thriving because he's got this whole thing going, and they somehow I don't know how they traced it to him.
Yeah. How was that not done before? Because we know
Right,
that this can't be the only
piece of tech.
particular piece of tech that he has been found by police.
First thing, she didn't seem to be feel so badly about getting my man, in the slammer, by losing his tech. But then what did
Nah,
she do? She goes and visits him in jail.
that was
Now,
cold. That was cold.
not only was it cold, it was like, all right. On one hand, Riri did get away with it, but then I don't think I don't think Zeke's getting visitors. Personally, I
Right.
don't think anyone's visiting him except for one person, Riri Williams. Now,
Right.
why in the world would you go and visit this dude who has this tech. And you're Riri Williams. You know, the one Riri Williams who stole the suit from MIT? Yeah, that Riri Williams. And so it's just like, what the fuck? What are you doing? And she's supposed to be smart. That's the thing. She's supposed to be smart.
Well, she's tech smart, not
she don't.
tactical
Okay, look,
smart.
You can say tech smart, but if she's tech smart, don't have her talking about, oh, are you going to do that off the rip? You don't have her talking like she's like from around the way, and then have her like be like. I mean, you can't have it both ways.
Good point.
I mean, look, Shorty's getting her hair twisted new every scene.
Looks good. I mean, her hair is her hair is sharp. I'm like, damn. Okay, it's fly. And then when she takes it out, it looks even flyer. I'm like, okay.
So I'm saying, don't have her all down like this. But she's going to go visit someone in jail. Come on, Riri.
Yeah, you know what? I was trying to figure that out myself. Yeah, I couldn't. Was that her guilt because she felt like she needed to go because she wanted to say sorry, but I just couldn't understand. Especially like you said, it's tech. Nobody else is coming to visit him.
Yeah,
you come to visit him.
Yeah,
you just got through. There have been sightings of your iron suit all around
Chicago.
All around Chicago. All around. Yeah, it's not like nobody knows your identity. Right. So they go in there, the only one, it's like they're not looking. I do believe jail, prisons, they keep a log of the people that come to visit. So
absolutely. Well,
and they never bring this up later.
The first person, when anybody, if somebody is a high profile person who gets arrested, anybody on their visitation list is going straight to the detectives. I mean, it's going like, you check this person out. Why are they visiting?
Right.
Especially if it's somebody who's not a relative, so anyway. So then they have the whole magic. I want to go point by point. I want to take all the time to do this, but the biggest problem, the biggest problem I have with the show, or one of the biggest problems, is that, as I said, Riri doesn't seem to learn at all from anything she does. So she makes this Natalie AI. Okay. She has a panic attack. The AI decides, okay, I'm going to fly off and get my brother. Well, Xavier, show up outside saying somehow 6'5" Xavier can get inside this fly.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I was trying to understand too. Yeah. Look,
I didn't understand that.
That was wild because, okay, first of all, the suit comes up and it opens up. I'm saying, okay, Riri's 5'3". Right. Zay is at least 6'1", 6'2". You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay, how was it designed so he could be, I don't know, picked up?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Know. But anyway, here's this is a point that really I wanted to get. So he comes, he sees the Natalie AI. It offends him. Obviously, he says, "Delete it. I can't believe you did that." Blah blah blah. Okay, so he's pissed, and so now we're at we're trying to figure out what to do.
Right.
So she goes home, tells her mom the whole deal. This is another plot point. It's just like, come on. She's like, Mom, she explains everything to Mom. The suit is bashed up. Remember on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's in pieces.
I didn't even go through the fact that that this dude Slug, the hacker, was speeding straight like about 60 miles an hour and runs into this iron suit and then just staggers away. I didn't even want to get into that because she'd be dead or he'd be dead, whatever. They'd be dead. So anyway, the suit's all banged up. She leaves that. We don't ever see her collect that stuff. That stuff's stuck in the middle of the street. I don't know.
Thank you. Never goes back and get that. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, what was up with that?
But then here's the thing. It was just like, I can't believe the writers did this because this makes Riri look just unbelievably dumb. Here it is. She goes home, tells her mom. Mom's like, "Oh, I got the solution. Bam! Here's the car. That's this Charger that I rebought from your dad." Which is like, I understand that it takes money to make
Yeah.
upgrades, to use all those things to make it a super suit, so to speak.
Right.
But Natalie could take this car. I'm not Natalie. Riri could take this car
Mm-hmm.
and make. I mean, this suit was the best looking suit of the whole show.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it didn't even look like it was like patched together. I mean, everything was like, it
Right.
was sweet.
It was sweet. Yeah.
That suit was sweet.
But it was more black on it than it was in the car. But
black. It was all, and so I'm just like, so this was my point. So we get to that point. I'm like, okay, so you're trying to tell me that Riri just needed car parts? Is that what you're telling me? Because if that's what it's telling me, then she didn't need to mess with it. All she had to do was fly to the junkyard. That's all she needed to do from the beginning, instead of getting messed up with the hood or any of that. So I'm just like, what's going on? What is happening? So then she makes this, okay, but she still needs power. So that is a problem. So then they're like, how are we going to get this power?
Yeah.
And they're like, let's put magic in the suit. Now, Riri at the beginning says magic is just knowledge that we haven't figured out yet. It's just something we haven't figured out yet. That's all magic is. It's just, physics that we haven't understood how it works yet. So now I know she's desperate, but she's just down right now, just like, yeah, put magic in my suit. And so they put magic in the suit, and Natalie gets killed. I mean, the AI is out of there, right?
Yeah. Right before she can finish uploading it,
right?
It
so what does
Riri
do? Riri, who's supposed to be a scientist and engineer,
right?
She's like, oh, it just blew out my entire AI, and I have a suit with just magic that I have no idea what it is. Let me in that motherfucker. I'm out of here. And she's like, she shoots a, and so I'm just like, what's going on? And when she leaves the atmosphere, she leaves like Superman, like she's breaking the sound barrier.
Yeah. They showed
what's
SoundCloud
happening, and the show was just like too much for me.
Sorry. There's no explanation in terms of how the technology is working. Like I said,
no.
What are we gonna use for power? Magic. Okay, what were you using before the magic? I remember it had power. You had enough to get from Cambridge to Chicago,
right?
But they never address what the power is. And I think that's big. Okay, they needed parts. They look at the car. You're right. If that is the case, then why not just go to a freaking junkyard?
I don't understand.
In fact, you don't even have to walk around in the junkyard. She knows the pieces she needs.
Right.
She could pull that up, meet with the person in the office, show them the parts that she needs. And they could say, okay, go to this car, go to this car. Took him an hour max to get all that.
So again, and I'm not saying, look, I was young once, and I made a lot of mistakes when I was young. I made a lot of mistakes in my first go around in college. So I'm not I'm not throwing stones. I'm just saying, let's not forget, this whole thing could have been avoided if Riri just went to class. If she just went to class, we wouldn't even have this story. But she didn't, and I get it. All right. So then she goes to see the hood, and the hood is like, and so I don't know what she does. I don't know how Riri would know to do this. Just a bunch of red lights with runes come out of her suit, and he's like, "Oh shit, magic, huh? What is she doing? What happened? What is she doing? I don't know what she's doing." Anyway, she gets the cloak, leaves. Now this is the bottom. This is why. This is when I wrote you. Right after this is when I wrote the thing. Okay, so the cloak is the Parker is neutralized because she has the cloak.
Right.
She goes and she sees Mephisto. Okay, who?
Yeah. That's a wild name, man. But yeah, Mephisto. Yeah.
Well, I thought Sacha Baron Cohen did a good job playing the character.
Yeah, I did.
But she goes, and this is where I'm like, if this is a villain origin story, I'm with it. But if it's not, I don't know what I just watched. Because now remember, she already has, even though he came to terms with it, she already saw Xavier's reaction to an AI of Natalie. What are you
Right.
doing? This is terrible. Even though she didn't do it on purpose. What are you doing? You
Mm-hmm.
know, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So
Right.
she's with Mephisto. So what does she decide she wants? Fuck that AI shit. I'm going to bring Natalie back from the dead. How about that? You know what I'm saying? I'm going to bring
Yeah.
back Red.
Yeah.
What about Gary? Fuck Gary. Just Natalie. I mean, she doesn't, you know, what's going on? And she's like, yeah, I'm with it. And
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
don't understand. I don't understand what I'm supposed to take out of that because
Well, first of all, Sacha Baron Cohen, when I saw him, I said, okay, this is good.
mhm,
I think he could do this role. And,
mhm,
and when I was watching the show, the whole vibe of the show and the way it comes off, it's kind of like a combination of an ABC after school special combined with a show like Charmed.
yeah,
So and so when you look at like my wife's a big fan of Charmed, and one of the big guys, the guy that played Cole, he just died this past weekend. But when you look at the way things are presented in that show, the way they do the backstories, the way the magic is included, well, when you looked at what Mephisto coming in play, it reminded me a lot of Cole's character. The character of Cole.
mhm,
And, he's got some devious shit that he's planning. He's
right,
got the silver tongue. He
mhm,
knows how to get people what they want. It's kind of like in the movie with Brendan Fraser when he was dealing with the devil and Homegirl was playing the devil.
mhm,
People ask for something or wish, but the wish comes with a consequence that they don't even consider or haven't even realized. Like when he told Parker, he said, "Oh yeah, well, what you have to give up, you're not even going to miss it. Might have been his soul, whatever." But with her doing that, she's falling along the same footsteps. Homeboy was able to get her to come around because
yeah,
he knows how to sell his shit.
oh yeah,
But the whole way the whole show comes off is just like a combination, in my opinion, of the way Charmed is set up and the after school special. Something that they want to be able to push so that, they can have several seasons on it. But I think that the way the character is written, just Riri herself, I think that's something that it can build on. But all the stuff around it does leave you wanting to understand what's the connection. There's a plot hole here. And there are a lot of plot holes. But one of
well,
the things people kept saying was that Riri isn't likable. And I think people probably kind of get that were defending her when you were saying those things. They couldn't understand what you were saying or couldn't see what you were
well,
trying to say
I can see that,
because of
but
that.
uh,
Yeah.
I do want to say, and I make drive this point home. This is very important. That said, I support the show.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I want people to watch the show. I wouldn't tell people not to watch the show, and I
Mm-hmm.
want to support all of this type of content. Not support Disney, not support Marvel, but I do
Mm-hmm.
want to support this this production team and this character. And I think that that you should, I would encourage people to watch it and come to your own conclusion about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't like the show because I just don't think that the character. I don't think this is going to have another season. Let me say that too. I just don't think Marvel is going to be investing, or Disney or whomever is going to be investing in Disney Plus shows anymore. It
Mm-hmm.
does need another season. I hope, because if it doesn't have another season, I don't understand. This is one of the problems with it. I don't understand what we're supposed to get from Riri Williams. When going
Mm-hmm.
into the show, I heard in some of the promotional interviews, Ryan Coogler and some other folks were saying that they like the character Riri Williams. They think she's a role model for women in tech, blah, blah, blah. This, that type of stuff, and it's all good. And I hope
Right.
that she is that. But I don't want Riri Williams to be a role model for anybody I care about right now, because
Mm-hmm.
cause other than I would love her to be smart, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would love the, people in my life to be intelligent and smart and be able to be inventors. That's great. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how she makes her decisions. and I don't understand really why she's smart.
Well,
It's
she's
almost as
only
if she has.
20.
It's almost
She's
like she's
on,
a mutant, like she's gotten
right.
this mutant intelligence because I don't understand what it's based in. I
Mm,
mean, you got to, she doesn't appear to be like she's not Rain Man. She's not a savant. She's not like somebody who's like got these problems. And most of the smart people that I know who have
mm,
have the ability to communicate well seem to make
yeah.
logical decisions for the most. They don't. As I'm saying, they don't make mistakes, but
Mm.
they make logical decisions along the way. And I don't see Riri doing that at all with anything.
See, see, here's the way I look at it. Your brain can only hold so much in it at a time. There's so much you can function on. So with Riri, her focus is on all. I'm telling you, she is focused on being successful with that suit. However, let's look at Mad Men. What was great about Mad Men? You got Roger Sterling and you got Don Draper.
Mhm.
You got the salesman and you got the creative. Okay. See, Riri is the creative. Okay. She's a creative. She needs somebody around her that can handle the business aspect. Say, okay, if you do this now, this is what's going to happen. We need to address this. There's nobody around her that's doing that. That's why we go back to Natalie. What did she say about Natalie? Natalie was the only person that could calm her down when she was having panic attacks. Okay, but Natalie can't be the person that kind of helps and guides her when it comes to making the next move, the next decision. That's why you look at Zelma introducing that character. She has that that power connection with the magic world. But she also is a type of person that connects with who they're working with. So she was able to start getting across to Riri to think about the next steps or how you should handle it. But I also like the fact that she was true when homeboy came when they came in there causing all that heck. She said, "Okay, yeah, I'll be out. You just hit me up later." But I think that's why you got these people coming around her because, like you said, she doesn't make good decisions all the time. She doesn't think ahead. She's not willing to take a step back and think about what her next action is going to be. And I think that's all because she's been so smart. She's accomplished so much that a lot of people just stay back off of her and let her just do her thing because, damn, graduate high school at 11, undergrad 15, MIT fellowship, all of this. It's kind of hard to kind of be there for somebody when they've done all this great stuff, but you're not able to see, okay, look, you're good at all that, but you need somebody to help you with this. And I think that's where she's at. Yeah, she doesn't make good decisions, but I don't think it's necessarily something she's doing consciously. I think it's just because of what she's been through and how she feels she needs to get things done. So,
It might
yeah.
be, but it wasn't like she didn't get during the course of the show. And again, I'll use myself as an example. I got good counsel also in life from my parents and from friends that I didn't follow, and
Mm-hmm.
as a result, things didn't work out the way I wanted them to work out. So she, we go to the point where she's just like shaking hands with the devil, and I'm like, okay, if Ironheart is a villain, I get this show. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
If this
Yeah.
is an origin story, if Riri Williams, and I wouldn't be against that. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that's what she is in the comic books, but I wouldn't be against that. It would be kind of, I don't know about very many, black female
Villains.
villains,
Yeah. Yeah.
of any note. So that would be cool. The only
That
one,
would pretty. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Yeah.
Storm
Yeah.
gets upset now and then, but that's about it. I mean, you really
Mm-hmm.
don't get a whole lot. So
Right.
I'm I just was disappointed with this show, and I guess I had the opportunity to voice the reasons. I wanted to make it very clear, though, it has
Mm-hmm.
nothing to do with the gender of the protagonist, and I would hope people would know that I'm trying to support all the heroes or characters of color that are out there.
Right.
And I want Riri. I wanted to. I guess that's why it affected me so much. I wanted to like. I wanted to like Riri. I
Right. Right.
did.
Right.
And
Right.
when she was making these bad moves in the beginning, even though they were disappointing, I was like, okay, well, certainly it's going to get corrected in the third act, in the third, the next three episodes.
Right.
The next three episodes, it almost got worse. So I was like,
I feel you on all that. The writing, that's one of the things that people complain about. They said, there seems to be poor writing, plot holes, and the story, doesn't seem to move the way that you would expect it when they start off one way and they turn down a street that you're like, okay, I didn't see that coming. But people also said that they found Riri to be unlikable. Now, would you would you would you find her to be? I mean, you said there are a couple of things where she seemed to be just concerned about herself, but would you agree with that? Do you think she's
she
unlikable?
was unlikable as a protagonist for me. Yes, she was.
Okay.
She was very
Mm,
much so. As a
mm,
she seemed to be the type of person. See, this is why I say it would be a good villain story. Let me qualify. I think if
mm,
I were to meet Riri Williams in real life, if there was such a person, I probably would
mm,
like her because she knows how to get what she wants to get, and
mm,
she'll befriend. I mean, she's not an obnoxious person or
right.
someone like that, but no, I don't think she's very likable at all.
Mm,
The only reason for me, if they put it this way, well, I would watch the show because I want to support the show. But
right. Right.
Ironheart season two, if there's Ironheart season two, I'll watch it now because I want to see, because she's freaking made this deal with Mephisto. I want to know what happens with that. But
Now, with those 6 episodes, is that it for this season?
that's it for the
It,
season.
so those 6, that's it.
That's
Wow.
it.
Okay.
That's what I'm
Wow.
telling you. That's it. That's what I was like. What are
Wow.
we? What am I gonna? What am I supposed to do with that character unless it's a villain? Now I would imagine when they first started writing this thing way back in probably 2020 or something like that, they
Mm,
probably thought they were going to get other seasons. I don't know why Marvel released it like this unless they planned to have other seasons, but I don't think it was I don't think it was viewed very well. So maybe they can put her in another
you gotta
movie or something where you can get a other side of it.
it looks different now that I realize that this was the entire season.
That was
I got
it.
a different feel on because I thought they were releasing it 3 episodes, then 3 episodes, then
No,
3 episodes.
no,
This,
no. That
yeah,
was
that is a lot of stuff. There are a lot of things that are open right now. There are a lot of questions that you have about it. So I didn't realize that. So that puts a different spin on it for me. Some people also felt that there wasn't a connection to Iron Man. You think people should have had that expectation that there
oh
should have been more of
well.
a connection
People,
to Iron Man?
casuals. They say casuals. People who are not Marvel heads, and you
Mhm.
see something named Iron something. They probably are expecting some
Yeah.
sort of something about Tony Stark or to come up or Robert Downey
Mm,
Jr. or something. But
mm.
I think that's just going to come with people because they just. I mean, it's like a Hulk show.
Yeah.
If you had a show, I mean, they had Hulk and She Hulk, but if you had some other Hulk show, uh,
Hmm.
they would expect probably Bruce Banner to show up or something. So
Gotcha.
I don't
Gotcha.
know.
All right, my man. Well, when you hit me up with that, I was real curious about that. So, but anyway, man, we're gonna close with that, man. That's that. I can't argue with the things that you're saying, man, because you're right. Now, like I said, now that I realize there are only 6 episodes of the first season, I'm like, okay, that that leaves me wanting. And if there aren't any more episodes, if there aren't any more seasons, then you're like, wow, they really left a lot to be wondered.
I would
They
just
left
like
a yeah.
I would just like to hear just to fill in the backstory. I'd like to hear something from the producers or Ryan Coogler, who probably didn't have much to do with the show at all,
Yeah,
except
he was just
for
the executive producer.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I
yeah.
would like to hear what we maybe should have seen that we didn't see, or the ultimate
Mm,
plan for the show that may not happen. Because
right.
as is, the way the show was packaged and presented, I just don't think I just didn't like it. I just didn't like it.
All
So
right, my man, I'm with you. For me, I found it enjoyable. I found it watchable, but I had the same questions that you have that really made me, go, okay, why didn't this happen? Ah, fuck it, I'm just watching it. But yeah, everything you said, I had those same questions as well. Anyway, everybody, this was our chat for today. So we're about to be out of here. That's my man Howard.
Yeah.
I'm Couch. Everybody have a great day. Talk to you soon. Peace.
Peace.